Oh, it wasn't meant for
a hot
them.
dog and a beer
Yeah,
or something.
or at least as hey, what does this mean? So
That's funny. Hey, getting back to your career, it's a great story, Rusty. You were drafted in the 10th round, 279th overall. Overall, what was that day like for you personally and your family being drafted?
Well, and back then a little bit different than it is today. There was not as much hype. There was certainly nothing on TV. You got a phone call and said, "Hey, this is Rudy Terrazas with the Rangers. We're drafting the 10th round," and that's pretty much what it was. And my dad was at work. My mom was at work. I was sitting there by myself waiting on the phone call. And I got the phone call, and there was no cell phones. It was landline, ring, pick it up. Rudy Terrazas, Texas Rangers. Hey, Rudy, how are you? We're drafting you the 10th round. Basically, when are you available to sit down and talk? I said, as soon as you can. And it's pretty straightforward. There was no even first round picks. I mean, it was just there was no hype or anything like that. You just got the call and went and played. And in today's world, a little bit different.
Oh yeah. Now you start your career in rookie ball up in Montana. Did you have to look at a map to see where you were headed?
No, I didn't have to. That was the most beautiful country up there. It was great. Now, a little bit different because things are spread out and you're driving a bus and all that. But it was very pretty up there, and it was a great place for. Then it was rookie ball, which rookie ball is your guys that are coming out extended, and then your just drafted guys. So there was a bunch of college. It was almost like a college team. Several guys from rookie ball, but mostly college players. And some of those guys to this day I still talk to. Terry Burrows, I just talked to him 2 days ago. John Shave, I talked to him. And a lot of those guys on that particular team, off of that 90 rookie ball team that in the Pioneer League, I think there was 8 guys that got to the big leagues, which is a pretty staggering.
That's a pretty nice fraternity on that ball club.
Yeah, it was a really good team. But yeah, so it was a great place to start, and the ball flies in the Pioneer League. I mean, it goes, and it was fun.
And I know you're a big outdoorsman, so being in, I think they call it Big Sky Country up there in Montana, was probably a good fit for you personally.
Yeah, well, just seeing things and being from Alabama, I'd never been to that part of the world, and just seeing that for the first time was really, really neat, and just kind of expanding your horizons a little bit and seeing parts of the world you didn't know existed.
So then you start working your way up. You're getting attention of the Rangers organization over the next 4 years. Then you make it to AAA ball in Oklahoma City to start the '94 season. When did you first get wind that you might be getting called up to the Rangers?
Well, in '94, I went to big league spring training, and I was the last player cut. I actually went to Houston with the team, played the exhibition game there, then came here and played the exhibition game against the Mets. And they had told me in Houston that I was going to go to AAA, so I knew I was leaving. And then, 29, 30 days into the season, I was the only outfielder on the roster, so I knew if somebody got hurt in the outfield, they would have to make a roster spot or call me up. So I was in a good spot there. And then Gary Reedus pulled a hamstring, and I was the only one on the roster. Kevin Kennedy liked me. And so Gary Reedus had gotten hurt, and I was the only one on the roster. So I knew at that point that if they weren't going to make a roster move, as far as adding somebody to the roster, taking somebody off, I was the guy. And came in from a game in AAA and was in the shower, and they said, Bobby Jones wants to see you. And really, I still had no idea. And as I was walking through the clubhouse, Donald Harris said, "You're going to the big leagues." And I said, "Come on." He said, "You're the only one on the roster." And I walked into Bobby Jones' office and was in the big leagues the next day. So kind of cool.
How long did it take before you got that news, before you called back to Albertville?
I called right away.
Yeah.
Called right away. I called my wife, parents, and said, "Yeah, I'm going to Oakland." And so I had to pack all my stuff up. So I slept for like 2 hours, got on a plane, went to Oakland. But the adrenaline plays a big part.
So the very next day you're out on the field in
the
lineup?
Yeah, I was in the lineup hitting second, playing right.
Wow.
Funny story, Jackie Moore, he was the bench coach, long-time baseball guy, one of my favorite people. He came up, and he was Kevin Kennedy's bench coach, and he said, "Congratulations, kid." I said, "Thanks." And, I was expecting to back up or have a day or two to get adjusted. He said, "You ready to play?" He said, "You ready to play?" And I said, of course I'm going to say, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Good, you're hitting second, playing right." And my heart went from my chest to my throat. And for the next really 4 months, my heart stayed in my throat the entire time.
Well, you obviously worked through that. I didn't move to North Texas until 1997 and grew up a fan of the Big Red Machine, the Cincinnati Reds, that 75, 76 team. I was a kid. You played a key role in ballpark history in the first season of the new park on July 28th, 1994, in front of a sellout crowd of 46,000 with your diving catch in the ninth. What I'd like to do is bring up a little audio, and I know you've heard it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. I'd like to play that and get your reaction.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
All right, Rusty, I'm going to cue up the audio. Make any comments as you watch this live.
Steps out of the box. Center field movement.
It's
He dives.
so it's I'm like you right now. I've got kind of chills watching that because a couple reasons why I'm almost 50 years old now, and I was 25 then. Kenny Rogers, by trade I wasn't a center fielder, so I was playing stopgap center field because David Hulse had gotten hurt as well, and I played several games in center. But on that particular play there, Kenny, let me back up. Kenny, from the first pitch on, had everything working. And I remembered I was playing center, and there was a point in time he threw a breaking ball to Spike Owen. And I said, man, Kenny's got a good breaking ball tonight. And we kept going. About the sixth inning, you realize he hasn't given up a hit or an out walk or anything.
That may have been on a 3-2 count.
Well, I'll get to the pitch of the game. Spike Owens was not, but. So we go on, and seventh inning, Jim Edmonds is up, 3-2, and Kenny Rogers threw a 3-2 changeup. Now, you hear lefty on lefty, you don't throw a changeup. Pitch of the game, 3-2 changeup to Jim Edmonds. He swung through it, and of course, by that point, everybody in the stadium knew what was going on. So with every strike, the place went berserk. With every ball call, they booed. And about the seventh inning, as young players, you tell the kids, you have to want the ball hit to you. You want the ball hit to you. Yeah, coach, I want the ball hit to me. Well, I can tell you there was 8 big leaguers on that field didn't want the ball nowhere near them that night. You know what I mean? And so then that ball went up, and really about halfway through it, as soon as it hit, I started for it, and I said I'm going to have to dive for it. And about as I got halfway there, I said I'm going to catch it. And if I just continue on through the process, I'm going to catch it. And so I caught it. But, that was the play in the ninth, and that play could have been made in the first inning, and it wouldn't have been a big a deal. But it's because the ninth inning was a big deal because there was several plays that night that were made. Dean Palmer made a play on a ball that took a bad hop on him off the grass and off the lip in the infield. I mean, a really nice play. Esteban Beltre went up the middle, caught a ball, and threw it to Will Clark, who stretched as far as he could stretch to the outfield side to catch it, stayed on the bag. Juan Gonzalez made a nice running catch on a ball in left center field. And it was a ball that was hit way up in the air that I think maybe Bo Jackson might hit it. Juan made a nice play on it. So there were several plays that made that game. It's just that one was in the ninth, and the impact of that play at that particular time in the game was big.
Yeah, it's rare for any major leaguer to have a perfect game, and it does, like you said, take an army of 9 to make it happen. And, man, that was just such an athletic play. I love watching that. And that's what's great about sports, to see those moments that people now 24 years later can draw on.
Yeah, still ask me about
it. And, I think you've mentioned there's probably must have been 400,000 people at that game because everywhere you go, you get something, right?
Well, and the funny thing is the last ball caught off Gary DeSarcina's bat, that was the one that gave me some trouble. It was a kind of a it wasn't hit real hard, but it was a line drive, and what happens is the facade is concrete, and those balls are rubbed up, so it blends in. So if that ball gets in that facade, you have to wait for it to come out. And so the ball went in the facade, and I'm standing there. If you notice on the last one, I kind of take a step in, and then I stop and I start back because I couldn't see the ball, and I'm sitting there saying, it's going to come out, it's going to come out. And there it came. I catch a ball above my head. And that was probably looking back on it, not a harder play, but a play that people don't realize how close it was to not being dropped, but a difficult play because you couldn't see the ball.
Plus, securing the third out of a perfect game.
Yeah,
you probably,
cool,
like you said earlier, please don't hit it to me. Please don't hit it to me, right?
Oh yeah, it's there's no question that even though you're in the major leagues, there's there's certain times that you get tense, and that's one of them because you know what's on the line.
Rusty, it's rare in professional sports to spend your entire career with one organization. You spent 15 years in the Rangers organization. You battled injuries late in your career. Your hustle, your work ethic, and desire kept you on the field, and you attempted a comeback. What can you tell our audience that has battled adversity, whether it's injuries or something else off the field, when they have those times in their life, whether they're a ball player or now maybe a coach dad or somebody in business, how to handle adversity?
I go back to stay the course, just continue to do what you're doing and continue to work. And, I miss it every day. And Jim Sundberg, he makes a good reference. Is a major leaguer has a cookie, and you either eat all that cookie or you don't. And so I didn't get to eat all my cookie because I got hurt and had to retire. And I'm not crying over spilled milk by any means, because I did it the way that earned the respect of my peers and colleagues and stuff. So, but I wish, because I didn't get to eat that whole cookie, I miss it every day. And so just keep working, and your heart and desire. Sometimes your heart wants to, but your desire want to, but your body won't let you, or your brain you have a mental block. And so I would just say keep working through that and keep pressing on and stay the course with what you're trying to accomplish or get back to doing or whatever it may be.
Man, that's great advice, Rusty. You were inducted into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame on August 11, 2007, and are considered one of the greatest Rangers of all time, and probably the number one fan favorite of all time. You're very humble, professional. What does it mean to you personally to be in the Hall?
Well, it means that I did something right, and I performed at a level. I always believed that. I get dressed just like you do. So when somebody pays to watch me do my job, I always believed that it was up to me to give them everything that I had, and not them first. Give my team, the organization, teammates, and myself everything I had. But then as a byproduct, the fans that come in and pay to watch, they get to see the game to be played, quote unquote, the right way. And so that's what I had. That's when I went in there every day. That's what I wanted to do. And I always had the mantra of, and this is good I tell my kid this for younger players, do one thing to help your team win. One thing. You may be 0 for 4, but you caught a fly ball. Well, you contributed. Contribute one thing to a win. Throw a guy out, take a walk, score a run, something to contribute to the win. So I went in every game saying, I'm going to contribute one thing to this win today. And in doing so, over the course of 8 or 10 years, I put together some contributions that allowed me to be voted into Texas Ranger Hall of Fame, which for me it's great because I'll never be a part of the big Hall of Fame, which that's every baseball player's goal. So I mean, for the organization I spent my entire career with, to say you're worthy of being in here is very humbling.
It's something that's very special, and that brings up something, Rusty. I want to ask you, even at the minor league level, but especially professional ball, how many times did you pinch yourself that you were getting paid to go out and play a game like that?
Well, make no mistake about it. It's a job. I mean, you're out there to win, and there's pressure, and you go to the ballpark every day because there's a standard that the organization expects, but there's also a standard that you as an individual and a professional expect. And when you're not meeting that level, it's stressful. I mean, it's a struggle sometimes. So it's work, it's a job, but at the same time, I wish I could be doing it today. You know what I mean? It's a fun job, and I would not trade it for anything in the world. While it is stressful and there's a lot of demand on you, to go out and be able to compete every day is something special, and to get paid to do that, it's even more special.
When we started the show, we talked about 2 million little leaguers start off, then 400,000 high school, then 25,000 college. Only 750 make it to the major league. So, man, what an accomplishment that, like you said, you get paid in that profession, and it is a tough job. Something that our listeners can take away from. In addition to coaching for many years in the youth divisions, you coached 1 year at Texas Wesleyan and then the Texas Collegiate League. Have you talked to your wife, Lori, any about getting back into college or professional coaching once your kids are out of school?
Well, the Rangers have offered me some spots, not recently.